Chilean sea bass is one of the most delicious fish you can cook. A little bit on the pricey side, but it's worth every penny if you're an aristocrat who needs to eat delicious food every meal of every day like me. Very, very simple. Like everything that I cook, all you need is some Chilean sea bass, get some salt, get some garlic powder, get some onion powder, and get some ghee. If we're gonna cook them on the grill, which we are, first step is to mix the garlic powder, the onion powder, and the salt together in a bowl. We're gonna stir it. We could stir it with a finger. We could stir it with a fork. Totally up to you. Second step, I'm gonna take these out of the bag, and they're resting on some parchment paper. And I'll show you why in just a second. So we're gonna want to maximize the surface area. We're gonna shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Why are we shimmying it? Because that's how we're gonna coat it with the good stuff before we're gonna throw it on the pan. And while we're letting it shimmy, 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 let it sit there for 1 second. We're gonna turn this pan on. Get this bad boy going. We're gonna do that with the second one as well, because this is great date food. If I wanna make my girlfriend happy, I cook this and some beans. She loves beans. She says it's genetic. I'm not gonna say it's genetic. I'm not trying to get strikes on my YouTube channel, but that's what she says. I'm simply reporting on the truth. Keep shimmying this around. Let the sides get fully covered. Then we're gonna let this one flip around as well. Now, unlike a lot of my food, we're not gonna let this one sit on paper towels because we actually want the water to act as an adhesive for the coating. Okay, now that this is good, we're gonna wanna let this sit. If we got a thick piece of sea bass, we're gonna wanna stop this grill when it's about 475 degrees. But because these are on the thinner side, we don't want the center to cook through by the time the outside gets seared. So we're gonna stop this at about 525 degrees. We're gonna pull this up. And as we pull it up, we're going to add our ghee to the top. Now, if you are not using a grilling plate like we are, you can, of course, soak your sea bass in a ghee or an olive oil in a Ziploc bag to make sure they're coated on the outside. Once we got that nice and hot, we're going to transition these sea bass from the parchment paper to the grill where they belong. Let them sit there for about 45 seconds before we give a little bit of an adjustment so the crust doesn't burn. You can see this pan drying up. We're going to want to scoot this a little bit to one side just to make sure we're not getting a little bit too overheated. Probably throw a little bit more ghee on that pan just to make sure we are lubrication central. Flip this first one. If it were a little bit thicker, probably we would have kept it on a little bit longer so the inside would cook more. But because it's thin, that inside, that's getting cooked real fast. Okay, now our other one. We ready? Boom. Like that crust? That's how we do it. Now we let it sit for about 3 minutes on one side. We're gonna flip it about 2 minutes on the other side, maybe 90 seconds. After 90 seconds elapses, turn it on its corner just a little bit. Be easier if we had tongs, we don't. It ain't gotta be perfect. That side, boom. That side. Same with this guy. One side to the other side. These are ready to sit. We're gonna let these sit for about 8 minutes because we need to let it sit so the inside cooks thoroughly through. We can turn everything off, clean everything up. A bunch of dorks want to use internal temperature thermometers to figure out when to cut their fish or meat through. I don't do that. I look for moisture rising to the top. Once I see moisture rising to the top after I've cooked it, I know that it's going to be nice and juicy on the inside. Yum, yum, yum. So we're going to cut that through. Cut like butter.